And the fifth thought pattern that you're going to experience, or most people will experience, is the storytelling mind. So the storytelling mind is how we create a sense of identity about ourselves. And the storytelling mind gets us into trouble because it repeats painful cycles from the past over and over and over again. And then we buy into those stories as if they were actually real. And it just drives you further down into that story. That is, it's your perception of what happened, but our perceptions are inherently flawed, and so are our memories. And usually those stories we tell us are just to reinforce a certain bias that we already have. So the storytelling mind, it's a problem because it prevents you from healing yourself. It prevents you from growing, and it prevents you from moving forward and developing as a person and in life. It keeps you stuck in that story, repeating over and over again. And whenever you come upon new situations, you're going to project that story onto the new situation, and it's just going to be the same result over and over again. And it's going to be like, a hamster running on a wheel. It's just going to spin around and round and round, and there will be no healing and no forward movement in your life. So to get yourself out of the storytelling mind, there's always a missing piece of the puzzle about something that happened in the past, some other perception, some other way. And there's always a lesson. Whenever there's challenges in life, there's always there always can be a lesson that you learn from it. So if you're telling yourself a story over and over again and you recognize that, step back, take the breath. Okay, here's the story I'm telling myself over and over again. Start asking yourself, what piece of the puzzle was I missing here? Maybe I see it differently now that I'm 10 or 15 years older than I used to be. I have a little more wisdom and knowledge. I can look back and shift that perception just a little bit. What lessons could I have learned from that situation? How did I grow? How did I change? And if you didn't learn any lessons, then what lessons can you learn from that now, looking at it from the future back onto the past? And the strongest skillful tool to get out of the storytelling mind is practice of forgiveness. 100%. When you are telling yourself a story about something bad that happened in the past, you have not forgiven, you have not let go. There's still something that you're holding on to, and forgiveness is, what, helps you break that tie and move forward. And so imagining those scenarios in your head, even if you couldn't learn a lesson from it or see it from a different perspective, at least learning to forgive yourself and others in that situation. And that will help diffuse the story that you're telling yourself over and over again. Okay, final thoughts. So remember, we're just not trying to clear your mind and empty it 100% to get out of your head. You're just trying to have skillful tools to learn to negotiate the types of themes that you will face when you're looking at your thoughts and observing them and getting caught up in them, and learning to pull yourself out of them and manage those situations. And when you learn to do that, it's very freeing, it's very empowering, and it's very balancing. It'll always bring you back to the center. And so a couple things here to remember, 3 things. One is sometimes your thoughts are so fast and out of control because your entire life is that way, and it's the speed of your life. And definitely in Western society today, so many people are on overload and overworked and overstressed and overtired and undernourished and underslept that they got too much going on, and the fast mind and the overthinking mind is just a symptom of that. And sometimes these tools actually won't really have that much effect until you actually start to step back and let go of some of the things in your life and slow down the pace of life in general. And that was a big lesson for me. I had to do that. And it's been very beneficial in terms of helping me manage my worries and my anxieties specifically. The second thing is that sometimes your mind is spinning really fast and out of control because it's trying to build up energy and a charge in your system because there's something that you have to face. And if it's something it can be conscious or unconscious, it could be something you've been avoiding for a long time, and the longer you avoid it, the more your mind starts to spin and spin and spin, because your consciousness is trying to help you generate the energy to move forward and face that situation. And so sometimes these practices won't be as effective if you're avoiding a situation or there's something that you need to face. So just be aware of that. That can be sometimes a thing that you need to do just to get your mind to settle down, which is a good thing. And the third thing, just remember, is that the more you get caught up in your thoughts, the more the mind spins out of control. It generates a stronger and stronger emotional charge. And the stronger the emotional charge it generates, the more you become a slave to those thoughts, the more those thoughts will control you. Eventually, the emotion will be so strong that it just overrides your willpower and will start yanking you around in directions that you don't necessarily want it to or are not to your benefit. So just remember, when you are in very, very, very strong emotional states, it takes a while to build up to those, but they do build up over time. The stronger the emotional state you were in, either to the negative or the positive, the farther you are away from the actual truth of what's going on. The truth of what's going on is always in the center. It's always in the middle. When you're in the center and you can look at one side and the other side and see why this is good and why this is bad, or positive and negative, and then decide, okay, I'm going to go into this positive situation, or sometimes you do have to go into a negative situation to move through something because you know there's positive on the other side. That's where you want to be. So just know that if you are very, very strongly emotionally charged, using these tips and tools to help bring you back to the center so you can see the truth of what's going on will be very, very powerful in helping you to get out of your own head. Okay, so that's it. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time, and hopefully there's some helpful tips in here for help managing your own head and your own thoughts and your own emotions. And thank you very much for watching. Much love to everyone. Take care.